But besides that, Martin, what are some of the current events that is, getting you heated up?
Well, pick one. I tell you one thing that really heats me up. We were talking about this before we started recording. We started talking about the dictator of El Salvador. This guy who has the most punchable face that I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, this guy, his face, everything about it. I mean, his cunning smile. This guy is a poster for a date rapist. If you see this guy, ladies, walk on the other side of the street from this guy. If this guy flashes a smile, give him the biggest glare in your entire life, because this guy is a piece of dog shit.
Honestly, if you see this guy like within 20 feet of you, like I would recommend just pulling out the pepper spray and just spraying a gigantic cloud and pray that the wind is blowing in his general direction. And we're talking about the 43rd president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele.
Surprised you didn't know about this. This guy being a dictator.
I don't know, man. I don't know every dictator, okay? I don't know every dictator in the world, Martin.
And this motherfucker, he goes to official events with a ball cap on his head.
Yeah.
A reverse ball cap on his head.
Like he's going to like a fucking college frat party. And he just looks like the biggest dipshit on earth with his wife, Gabriela Rodriguez.
And his beautiful wife, a ballet dancer, a doctor. What the hell is she seeing, this cocksucker? Jeez.
Yeah, this dude and this man, the thing that pisses me off most about this man's appearance, besides that stupid fucking ball cap, is that fucking beard he has. It is just wrongly shaped around. I'm looking at the one where he's wearing the stupid ball cap, right? So you see where like the beard is like shaped kind of where his cheek is, and it goes up to his upper lip. This looks like dog shit. And to make it worse, he's got his like, his neckline here completely clean shaven. And sometimes with some beards, that's okay, but not with this kind of beard. You don't want to have a super clean shaven beard if it's looking like this. Like it looks like it's too clean shaven up to his like chin. It's not like it's a douche beard. It's not like a beard with actual, mass to it, like a luxurious beard, like Fidel Castro. That man had a fucking beard.
Oh yeah. This guy looks like he painted this beard on, like he paid somebody.
Yeah, he looks like a Sim escaped from like The Sims 4 and became president of El Salvador.
Yes, but I can see that.
But what was it particularly today that got you really heated up about the president of El Salvador?
Well, first of all, this guy's policies, right? I mean, like he's like super anti-abortion, like super anti-abortion. Even if it's in the case of the woman's life, fuck her, let her die. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. He's also a dictator, and also what's pissing me off too is El Salvador already became the first country in the world to recognize Bitcoin as a legal tender. Welcome to economic volatility, ladies and gentlemen.
It is such like a fucking...
You gotta be an idiot. You gotta be an idiot to have such a volatile currency, whatever Bitcoin is. You gotta be an idiot to have that as your legal tender.
This sounds like a guy who decides his country's policies from opinions on subreddits.
Yeah, he even looks like the type of dude. Yeah. Oh man, Bitcoin is cool, bro. Let's do it. Oh yeah, bro.
So
that kind of guy.
In a very wise use of his country's very limited budget, I'm sure. On September 6, 2021, Bukele announced that the Salvadorian government bought its first 400 coins, as in bitcoins.
By the way, too, bitcoins are $3,000
Let's
a piece.
So
$3,000 a piece.
As of today, as of today's recording, 400 bitcoins translates to about $17 million, over $17 million. And that jumped the fucking price of Bitcoin with that purchase. The following day, the Bitcoin law came into effect, making Bitcoin legal tender in El Salvador, which became the first country to make the digital currency legal tender. The same day, Bitcoin crashed, falling from 52,000 per Bitcoin to under 43,000, reaching at one point in the trading its lowest in nearly a month. Meanwhile, platforms such as Apple and Huawei weren't offering the Salvadorian government-backed digital wallet named Chibo, while internet servers were forced to move offline after they were overwhelmed with user registrations. Some 1,000 protesters took to the streets of San Salvador to express their opposition to the country's adoption of Bitcoin.
And like these poor, wonderful citizens of El Salvador, they have no power for this guy. I mean, this guy he claims to be a populist, but he's not he's trying to be cool. He's trying to be cool, but he sends soldiers to the legislative assembly, right, to encourage the passage of a bill. That's dictator shit, right?
Yeah. Pretty dictator-y to me.
He's trying to be cool. He has his ball cap on backwards. A 40-year-old man, and his ball cap is on backwards.
This is like a guy who you just want to spit in his face looking at his official portrait. His fucking portrait looks like it's actually been, at least to my eyes, it looks too smooth. Like someone went into it with Photoshop and like
his skin is too smooth.
Smoothed the wrinkles out on his forehead and his cheeks and his nose. It looks like it's been touched up, and it looks very weird and obvious. Ain't nobody got a forehead that's that frickin' smooth. Either that or he put on like a bunch of makeup on his face to conceal any potential wrinkles.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, because he's definitely got, your typical forehead wrinkles on his head. He's like only 40. So yeah. What was the...
And I've also learned too about... I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I was just going to ask you what was the thing that you had noticed about him on Twitter in particular.
Twitter? What are you talking about?
Oh, maybe it was something I had seen, because I was actually just scrolling Twitter too when you mentioned this guy. And Jacobin popped up,
But yeah.
And there's actually, if you go to Jacobin's Twitter page, it should be like a 2-hour tweet. As President Nayib Bukele's authoritarianism intensifies, El Salvador's popular movements are forging a broad opposition front against the government. It seems Bukele's honeymoon has come to a close.
Amen.
And it links to a Jacobin article.
Yeah, let me see this here. 2 hours ago. All right. But I'm glad that people are standing up against this guy.
Yeah.
To me, it's sort of like the guy who tries too hard, right, to be cool. Bro, you're 40 years old. Accept it. Don't do what the young guys are doing and invest in something as volatile as Bitcoin.
Using your country's government to do it, no less, too.
Yes.
So I just linked in chat.
Oh, okay.
The article that Jacobin tweeted out by Hillary Goodfriend. That's a nice name. Goodfriend. Can you imagine if that were your last name?
Actually, there was a guy in the 80s. He was known as the King of Wall Street. I think John Goodfriend, but it wasn't spelled literally like good friend. It was spelled in a different way.
Oh.
He was an asshole, of course.
Yeah.
Wall Street.
As one, of course. Anything associated with Wall Street is typically got the personality of a unwashed anus.
Well, speaking of wrecking economies, ladies and gentlemen, Wall Street.
Whoa. But
They're the
yeah.
pros at that.
So do you want to read maybe like a couple of these paragraphs about this guy? There's trouble in El Salvador's Bitcoin paradise by Hillary Goodfriend.
All right. So this guy's 40 years old. He's a millennial millionaire president. And it says he projects this international image as a youthful and irreverent Silicon Valley style disruptor. Ugh. Naib Bukele. You know what? I'm going to call this guy Bukalele. Fuck it. Fuck your name, Bukalele. So Bukalele, he's making headlines, snapping a selfie during his first address at the United Nations that made his country the only in the world to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. So Bukalele, right? His government has a deeply authoritarian character. So of course he's going to enjoy high approval ratings. I mean, come on. He's a dictator. They always have high approval rating.
I'm gonna post just to really emphasize the douchebag factor. I'm gonna post the selfie he actually took at the United Nations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's well. First of all, you're a selfie. I don't see taking a selfie as like what a leader of a country would do.
Secondly, he's not even doing a good selfie. This looks like dog shit.
Yeah, you can't even see the top of his hair.
You know, like old ass baby boomers when they take selfies, it's always like the camera's pointed directly upwards into their nostrils half the time. It's like that.
And bro, if you're a dictator, you don't smile. Dictators don't smile.
No. Unless you're Stalin. He smiled a lot. There's lots of pictures.
Teeth.
No. He had that big old mustache though.
Oh, I love what Miss Good friend says, tech bro authoritarianism.
Sounds like
let's see what this.
That's legit sounds like the name of like a cyberpunk novel.
Tech bro authoritarianism. That's clever. All right, so let's see what this Bukalele guy's all about. All right, so I'm reading along here. Bukalele compiled a coalition of the most loathsome opportunists from across the Salvadoran political spectrum. So when he was in office, he converted the Salvadoran government into an advertising agency, abandoning the remains of the former government's social programs. Oh boy, I love this Reaganism so far.
So wait, what was that first one you just said? Can you repeat that for me?
Yeah, so this is a paragraph here. Despite casting both traditional right and left parties as his enemies, Bukalele compiled a coalition of the most loathsome opportunists from across the Salvadoran political spectrum. Mm-hmm. In office, he converted the Salvadoran government into an advertising agency.
How do you... What does that even fucking look like?
I don't know.
You have to privatize the fucking government. So fucking... Whoa. Whew.
And he abandoned the remains of the former political party's social programs to the neglect and corruption of his cabinet as the country's finances spiral out of control.
Yeah.
I'm all for immigration.
Yeah, so like just for audience sake, the former party governing El Salvador prior to this dickhead was the Farabundo Martin National Liberation Fund, the FMLN, which apparently I don't really know a whole lot about it, but it appears to be a leftist party of some variety that emerged after the Salvadorian Civil War.
And speaking of which, doesn't Bukalele look like a penis with hair on it?
He definitely looks like a penis, but somebody decided they wanted to give their penis like pubic hair that looked like facial hair. So they took like a razor and they just kind of decided, you know what, my penis will look like this.
Yeah, this guy definitely looks like the top of a penis with facial hair.
So,
okay.
Moving on.
So, in order to consolidate consolidate and retain power, this Bukalele dude demolished the gains of the 1992 peace accords that brought a negotiated close to El Salvador's 12-year U.S.-backed civil war. Of course, the U.S. always gotta fuck things up. Gosh dang it.
Gosh darn it.
For once, can our country not get involved in another country's civil war? Oh. So, anyway, Bukalele fomented the remilitarization of Salvadoran politics and, by extension, the repolitization of the armed forces, effectively abolishing the separation of powers, and he criminalized dissent. What you did to me at the beginning of this podcast, you dictator.
This is the cornbread channel now, baby.
Bread. Corn punkhead. So the dramatic events of February 9th, the author, she goes on to explain. So the dramatic events of February 9th, 2020, when the president invaded the legislature with the army to demand the approval of a security loan, turned out to be a mere prelude to the quote-unquote self-coups to come. So apparently this Bukalele guy invaded the legislature with the army of the country to demand the approval of a security loan.
Damn, doesn't this kind of remind you of like Roman emperors who basically misused and eventually pissed off their own armed forces and bodyguards and ended up fucking assassinated and replaced?
Yeah, I could definitely see Roman emperor sending the Roman army to the Senate. Yeah.
How many Roman emperors have been killed because they have pissed off either their bodyguards or like the army and the legions?
Make a list. You can make a list. It's more than a handful.
So Bukaki is basically doing similar stuff here, bringing the army to coerce legislatures to pass legislation.
And he has and on May 1st, 2021, so very recently, let's see here. Are you kidding me? This guy named his political party New Ideas?
Bro, there ain't fucking new about your ideas. I mean,
is this a real political party named New Ideas?
They literally are New Ideas. The New Ideas Party. It's so fucking tech bro. It is
God.
Tech bro authoritarianism.
This is like if Mark Zuckerberg were a dictator. He would name his idea he would name his party New Ideas.
Yeah, if you put him like you put him in a Latin American country, this is the shit he would fucking do. Or Elon Musk. This is the shit they would do.
Oh, I think Elon Musk would probably name it something weird like XL2Q Party or some bullshit like that.
Something
that only an alien from outer space would understand.
Grimes becomes the first lady of El Salvador. So the new Attorney General shuttered the nascent Organization of American States, the OAS, a backed anti-corruption body, and installed by Bukake himself as a campaign promise, and launched an operation of political persecution that has so far seen 5 former FMLN cabinet members in prison on trumped-up charges.
No justice.
No peace. On September 1st, Bukele's new constitutional chamber ordered a purge of the lower judicial orders, forcing all judges over the age of 60 into retirement. Days later, they defied the Constitution's prohibition and authorized the president's re-election.
You know, I feel like if former President Anus Mouth was smart, he'd probably do this stuff too.
Oh, he would definitely try anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he would try, but we all know that Anus Mouth was, in my opinion, he was ruled by other people.
Probably.
You know, like that nativist, racist piece of shit, Stephen Miller.
Yeah. Like, you can just tell it's not a guy who actually cares about politics or has, like, a real ideology beyond their own self-interests. Coming on the heels of these attacks against the nation's fragile but hard-fought democratic order, the deeply unpopular Bitcoin law was the straw on the camel's back, triggering mass protests that threatened the popular foundations that led legitimacy to Bukake's presidency. I'm going to call him Bukake. You can call him Bukalele if you want. I think
Bukalele. Why not? If he don't take himself seriously, why should I?
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Bukalele's Bitcoin gamble. Bukalele's Bitcoin proposition was immediately rejected in El Salvador, where the traumas of the deeply unpopular dollarization of the country's economy in 2001 are still fresh in public memory. The 3-page law was presented and approved by the ruling party's legislative majority in a matter of hours.
Of course.
Only days after the president surprised the country with the announcement in English at a Miami conference in June. Dude, this is some legit Donald Trump shit.
It's a Bitcoin Miami conference.
Of fucking Bitcoin.
Run by grifters.
Fucking... Ugh. I hate all fucking cryptocurrency.
Who own the majority of Bitcoin, by the way.
Yeah. Polls have confirmed broad disapproval of the measure, as well as generalized confusion and ignorance about the cryptocurrency's mechanics. As public anxieties rose ahead of the law's implementation, negatively impacting Bukele's much coveted approval ratings, the president assured the nation that Bitcoin's usage would not be mandatory. The legislation...
Didn't even afford it.
Yeah, no shit. The legislation itself, however, includes mandates that all economic agents accept Bitcoin transactions, and that pre-existing obligations expressed in dollars may be settled with Bitcoin. So this is actually, and I don't know if the article touches upon this, there's a lot of consequences behind that. So essentially, let's say the United States, the one who actually produces the US dollar, decides to sanction somebody or a country for whatever reason. They can essentially block that person from using from receiving any digital transfer of US dollars. They'd have to they'd have to use cash essentially to get anywhere or anything. But Bitcoin, obviously, because it's unregulated and basically uncontrolled, that essentially doesn't. Somebody who is sanctioned by the United States, for example, could have an easy workaround.
Well, that's one thing that disturbs me about these cryptocurrencies, though, is that eventually it's going to get to the point to where the government is going to have to step in and regulate it because it's going to tank the economy, and the government has to step in. And so that's why I don't like these cryptocurrencies. These cryptocurrencies are not democratic, unlike what their founders and what the people who own, coincidentally, people who own the majority of it are. They're not democratic. They're for the rich, by the rich, and they're for the rich. It's bullshit. And it's going to get to the point where the federal government's going to have to step in and regulate it. And that's what I don't like. I don't like the fact that these rich, wealthy people can just tank our entire economy, take people's pensions away, and for what? So they can speculate on a completely made up bullshit like Bitcoin? I could kill a motherfucker over this stuff.
Hey, Martin, I have a cool new crypto you might be interested in throwing your money behind.
Well, you take that crypto and you stick it sideways and you shove it up your crypto asshole, okay? How about that?
You were my one and only hope of getting someone to buy cornbread coin. But now
I'll take your Bitcoin and kiss your own sphincter with it, all right? There you go.
Rest in peace, cornbread coin. Moving forward, the bid has been framed as a means of attracting international investment, an escalation of Bukake's Surf City branding exercise for the country's western beaches. Oh, what? They trying to get white people money or something? What? At best, however, it threatens to flood El Salvador's shores with an unsufferable tide of digital grifters and influencers.
Preach, Mrs. Good Friend, preach.
I was right. This is literally trying to get that fucking, like, white-ass fucking tech grifter money.
Yep.
More seriously, Bitcoin's adoption promises a massive influx of criminal organizations looking to launder their illicit earnings into El Salvador.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Bukalele's probably making millions upon millions from these grifters and from these criminal organizations. Can we please play 50 cents? I get money. I get money, because that's what these grifters are doing. God, I would love to just take all their money and literally shove it into their behinds.
Oh, and here is another reason, especially you, Martin, will fucking hate Bitcoin and just crypto in general. Bukele's Bitcoin law also represents a dangerous ecological hazard. In 2017, after a decade-long battle that cost the lives of several water defenders, El Salvador's became the first and only nation in the world to ban metallic mining. Now, the president has offered to channel the country's limited geothermal resources into Bitcoin mining, which would quickly enforce El Salvador to resort to importing carbon-based energy to meet its domestic needs. So yeah, believe it or not, and they don't really explain how exactly Bitcoin in particular and crypto in general affects the environment negatively. But yeah, crypto is actually pretty bad for the environment, especially if you have like a bunch of computers on all times, just constantly churning, requiring a shit ton of electricity to mine coin. The government's pitch to the Salvadoran public, however, centers on remittances, salary transfers from working-class migrants in the United States to their families in El Salvador. As the Salvadoran economy spirals downwards, remittances have come to represent the country's main source of dollars, representing nearly 25% of GDP in 2020. So a whole fucking quarter of the fucking country's GDP. Yeah. Bukele is calling on migrants to send their remittances through the government-commissioned wallet application Chivo and circumvent the abusive transfer fees of services like Western Union.
So these are money orders, these remittances. So when you go into Walmart, you get a money order, you go to money order. That's what those are, essentially.
Yeah.
Where you send money back to your family or your friends to your country that you came from, I guess.
Yeah, it happens all the time. It's like, Western Union. I'm trying to think of the other one that's pretty big. I don't know. It'll come to my mind. The trouble, however, is that Bitcoin lacks the stability of the US dollar. Indeed, economists have pointed out that the highly volatile cryptocurrency is better conceived as a crypto asset, good for speculation and investment, bad for daily transactions, price measurement, or savings.
And that's the problem too. A lot of these people who own Bitcoins, they don't know anything or very little about finance. And so they think these cryptocurrencies are a good thing for stuff like daily transactions, price measurement, or savings.
No.
So a bunch of ignorant people, and I don't mean ignorant in a negative way, I mean ignorant as you don't know, motherfucker. That's ignorant. So a bunch of ignorant people get these cryptocurrencies, and I fear for the future, man. I fear it. I feel like the canary in that coal mine. I fear doom. I predict gloom and doom for us in the world.
But yeah. Oof. So, who would have thought that an entire market that is centered around what is essentially a commodity or an asset that is completely, by its nature, unregulated, would be unstable.
Yeah, good sarcastic question, I guess.
So, for working class Salvadoran families who depend on remittances to make ends meet, the risk of only receiving a fraction of the value of funds dispatched is a risk they can't take. Indeed, far from a tool for emancipating the Salvadoran economy from foreign dependency, Bitcoinization only offers a new form of subordination and external vulnerabilities.
Well, that's the point of it. The point is to get those in power rich. They don't give a damn about working class families. Bukalele could wipe his ass with your tears, you working class families.
No
Because
shit.
he's wiping his ass with Bitcoin money.
Yeah.
That's what Bukalele's doing.
Bukake. President Bukake.
Bukalele Bukake, you piece of shit.
Wonder how many, given our, analytics, I wonder how much of our audience will actually know what I'm talking about when I say Bukake. These concerns have only been confirmed in light of the chaotic rollout of Bukele's Bitcoin infrastructure. Days before implementation, police illegally detained Mario Gomez, a prominent critic of the Bitcoin law and minor Twitter celebrity, sparking international outcry. On September 7th, the Chivo wallet launch revealed a system plagued with glitches and frequently down for maintenance. That day, the price of Bitcoin took a steep dive, a dip from which it has yet to recover. So that earlier cost or price of a Bitcoin I mentioned earlier, that actually used to be higher apparently before this. At the same time, San Salvador saw its first multi-sector march against the government, so something to feel good about. Under the banner of No to Bitcoin, the mobilization, including judges recently dismissed by Bukele's Supreme Court, denouncing the government assault on the Constitution. This dude is going to immediately spark a fucking civil war. Just from sheer fucking corruption and incompetence. On September 7, the September 7 march, however, was only a rehearsal. On September 15th, as Bukele prepared official ceremonies for the Central American Bicentennial, thousands more took the streets to reject the government's authoritarianism. From departure points across the capital, marchers converged in the Morazan Plaza of San Salvador's old central district, which proved too small to host the crowds. Feminist organizations, student groups, war veterans, labor unions, and FMLN committees joined professional guilds and right-wing politicians in the street to rally against the president. Man, can I fucking say how badly, how fucking terribly you have to fuck up to get feminist organizations, labor unions, and right-wing politicians to lock arms and to protest against your fucking government? Shit.
I'm saying, man, this guy Bukalele Bukake is a clown. He's a clown. He needs to be on a circus somewhere, you know? He needs to be in schools or hospitals doing clown work. He's a fucking clown.
Hoping to destabilize and delegitimize the protests, Bukalele recalled all police from the streets and seeded the march with infiltrators, who were then immediately identified and isolated by organizers.
How were they identified, I wonder? Jeez, hold on. Let me go click on that link here.
Dude, American cops do this shit all the time, too. And it's usually pretty fucking obvious when it's a plant in, any protest, especially against, police brutality. You know, it's always, the one dude who's either, really jacked and he's just how do you do?
He's got a fade and shit, yeah.
How do you do, fellow anarchists?
Dude, I went to the link and it's all in Spanish. I need you.
So, you asking the wrong.
Infiltrators llegaron en carro del gobierno. Oh, man. I'm not that good at Spanish yet. So this is the link is from elsalvador.com.
Okay. Did you post
and it's all Spanish.
Did you post it in chat?
Oh yeah.
Do you all
it's a link.
You all want to hear my piss poor Spanish?
Yeah, you be mistranslating some shit.
Oh, y'all get to hear some bad fucking Spanish. I
And then
apologize.
Bukalele put a gopher up his asshole.
I apologize in advance to any Spanish speakers in our audience. Infiltrados llegaron en carro del gobernador y intentaron sabotear marchas. And one of these is actually...
What does it say, bro? In the car of the governor?
Leave in
a
government car, intend to sabotage marches, essentially.
Oh, okay. So that's how they know they're in government cars. What?
Yeah. So I'll try to...
How are they going to sabotage marches, bro?
Yeah, I'll try to kind of like slow it down a little bit because I felt like I just went off the rails with that really quickly. Infiltrados llegaron en carro del gobierno y intentaron sabotear marchas. En el pick-up andaban varios hombres de apariencia jóvenes entregado camisetas estampadas al frente con mensaje de rechazo al Bitcoin y atrás con la bandera de los partidos Harina y FMLN. That was just a subtitle. It's been so long since I've had to say any Spanish.
I mean, I got it. I can know little words like camisetas.
No,
it's like t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
Camisetas.
I'm going to read this one paragraph. I'm going to call it quits because I feel like I'm embarrassing myself. No se la pongan. No se la pongan. No se la pongan. Es una trampa. Gritaron varias bocas cuando varios jóvenes ofrecían camisetas estampadas con un mensaje contra la implementación del Bitcoin al frente, pero en la parte de atrás las banderas de los partidos Harina y FMLN con la leyenda olvidemos el pasado.
So I guess I'm just going to translate that as the protesters kicked Bukalele Bukaki in the nuts.
And farted in his face.
Yeah. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
They probably didn't understand the words coming out of my mouth, and some of them, judging from my analytics, probably speak Spanish.
Well, sorry. Hey, we're true gringos up here, right? We're sorry about that.
We try.
We love Spanish, though. Spanish is awesome. Yeah. English, though, on the other hand, English needs to, like... I'm like, girl, you need to, like, clean up your vowels because your words are so messy in English. I'm like, our vowels are not consistent at all.
No. Like, compare the words, and I know we talked about this earlier, compare the words in English bear and fear. How does that fucking make any sense?
It makes zero sense.
How come we don't call bear a beer? And why don't we call fear fair?
Anything English, I blame the beautiful bard Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare, by the way. Mm-hmm. But just blame it on Shakespeare.
In his recorded address that evening, Bukalele claimed the protesters were internationally financed dupes and vandals. He never mentioned the word Bitcoin. So here's this section. And
is this like the version of their protesters by Antifa?
Yeah. You know when they fucking stormed the Capitol in January 6th?
Yeah, those fucking Antifas. Trumpers. I hate them so much.
Yeah.
I can't believe they stormed the Capitol and they even shot that poor girl.
Like, yeah. I read this on Conservapedia, and
the most reliable.
And they linked me to an article on the Daily Stormer, which told me that...
Oh, dude, not only that, but did you know also that Antifa is funded by reptilians in the core of the earth?
Who happen to be cultural Marxists?
Yeah, no, yeah, they even eat babies while reciting passages from Das Kapital. You believe that shit? They just cut off a baby's arm and start eating it while saying, "Hey, Marx. It's that kind of stuff.
And need I remind the audience that Das Kapital was written by communist Soviet leader Vladimir Ilyich Stalin?
Oh, yeah, he did a lot. I mean, not only was Stalin that way, but Stalin got a lot of money from milk commercials because when he drank that milk, oh, man, his mustache looked white as the snow, the Siberian snow.
Yes, the well-known Soviet milk commercials that Vladimir Ilyich Stalin was in.
And guess what was on? Guess what was on the cartons of those milk boxes in Soviet Russia, in Stalin's Soviet Russia?
The Twin Towers.
No, it was the kidnapped people that Stalin kidnapped. That's real.
The kidnapped people that Stalin kidnapped, who he had kidnapped.
You know, like on the milk cartons in the old days, they put missing people on there.
Yeah.
I can just imagine people in Soviet Stalin Russia, right? In Soviet Russia run by Stalin, if this were a thing, if it were a thing, them putting pictures of the people that Stalin had murdered in the middle of the night. Like, have you seen this person?
The fucking KGB shows up, confiscates, like, your milk carton.
What are you doing?
Suka, please, get this out of here. You are an enemy of the proletariat.
Oh.
Would you like to read this section called The Left while I take a quick break? I'll be right back.
All right, The Left. And this is the last section. Oh, yeah, only a couple paragraphs left. So, Bukalele Bukaki, he defended his government's anti-democratic measures by citing his enduring popular support. That's weird. So at the heart of his authoritarian populism, however, is a profoundly anti-popular project. A top-down and unilateral exercise in power in service of an elite few. Thank God, right? And so this protest movement marks a turning point, providing the first mass challenge to the president's rule. Yes. And it also is a new moment for El Salvador's embattled left. So these recent mobilizations, as we have seen, right, were remarkably diverse. If you have feminists and right-wingers in the same protesting the same thing, woo, I'd hate to be on the other side of that protest. I mean, how batshit crazy do you gotta be if you got the feminists and you've got the labor unions in couple with the right-wingers? Woo! But, however, to continue, that diversity should not obscure the critical role of the left in organizing the actions. And I should say the left, you know, like some popular pundits. So the collectives that convened the September 7th and September 15th marches, some of which have direct ties to the FMLN, and others openly at odds with the party, demonstrating heartening levels of maturity and capacity in coordinating the action and mobilizing the turnout. So that's positive.
Can you imagine, like, the way to protest this guy is to just wear, like, a baseball cap forward? To spite him.
Yeah. I'm the ruler of this country. I got millions of dollars. You know, and I'm wearing a baseball cap backwards. You know, your dumbass can go to London on Savile Row and get the most expensive suits in the entire world looking like James Bond, but you'd rather look like a douchebag at a baseball game.
At least fucking, like, guys like Muammar Gaddafi had fucking style. Like,
you know, it's sort of like when you see a dude like him with a pretty woman and you just think in your head, man, he ain't hitting that shit right. Well, he ain't hitting money right if he's dressed like a bum like that.
Yeah,
he ain't hitting it right.
He doesn't even wear Gucci. Like Muammar Gaddafi.
F Gucci. I'm talking about the stuff you get in London. I'm talking about when Madonna said all your suits are custom made in London. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah, you would think that this is what a blatantly corrupt president would do, but nah, he's tech bro. He looks like he's gonna go to his frat house and watch the big game.
Well, yeah, while you're drinking some beer and just ordering people to die, you know, and ordering people around.
Drinking Bud Light.
and ordering people who have abortions to be jailed for the rest of their life.
Yep.
Come on, girl, leave him to his beautiful wife, who was a ballet dancer, awesome, and an educator and a doctor in prenatal psychology, at least according to YouTube. Leave him. God, what do you see in Bukalele Bukaki? What do you see in him? Jesus Christ.
Take us home with this, Martin, because when we're done with this article, we're going to be getting into the meat and potatoes of today's episode.
So, after successive electoral defeats, the FMLN is racked with internal conflict. So, as long suppressed ideological and strategic divisions are finally finding open expression, a schism has emerged between the party's right and left flanks. But nevertheless, though, the party's strength lies in the burgeoning opposition coalition. And so the FMLN's viral anti-Bitcoin campaign and notable representation in the recent mobilizations, the protests, are a reminder that even at its weakest, the party's territorial reach, resources, and organizing capacity remained unmatched on the Salvadoran left. So as Bukalele Bukaki's authoritarian consolidation intensifies, El Salvador's popular movements are forging a broad opposition front against the government. And these organizations are no stranger to fighting repressive, anti-democratic regimes. Nearly halfway through his 5-year term, Bukalele Bukaki's honeymoon, it's over. Your honeymoon is over, brother.
Bukalele Bukake butthole liquor.
I owe you a punch in the face. Gosh, his face is just so punchable, man. Oh.
It is my hope that the people of El Salvador will get the opportunity to punch him in the face.
It's my hope that they get the chance to
every citizen
have democratic elections not run by the wealthy and not run by this jerk off.
Yeah. And Minecraft, by the way. We have to say that. It's in Minecraft. We hope that he gets punched in the face in Minecraft.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not advocating any violence toward political leaders.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that.
Ministry of Modus does not advocate violence towards any leaders of state.
But on a serious note, hey, girl, leave him. I'm going to be like Tupac and Can You Get Away, girl? Can you get away? So, that's all I got to say.
All right.